Hello everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. My name is Mark Kelly. I am your host, your guide. I am Karen on the River Styx. I will lead you to a place where we discover some amazing creative people that live in this wonderful community of Northland, New Zealand. Southern Hemisphere, Earth, third rock from the sun, Milky Way. We are back. After having a well-earned break, we went for 18 months solid, and I mean solid, without time off or anything, and made a decision to allow everyone to have a little bit of time off, enjoy some Christmas and New Year's, and spend time with loved ones. So if this is your first podcast with us, thank you. We appreciate you joining us. If you are a repeat viewer or listener, welcome back. It's lovely to have all of you amazing people here with us. We do what we do because we love celebrating the entire creative industry that is Northland. I'm going to switch to my camera. So, last year, our very first guest for 2023 was the superb and amazing soprano, Sophie Sparrow. And she was super cool. We had such a good time, and she was a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. Sophie, if you watch or listen to this, thank you very much for being part of that. When you're back in New Zealand, we'd love to have you back on. So this year's guest had to be someone that was equally of such a high caliber that Sophie set. We had to have someone that had prestige, had to have someone that was an amazing conversationalist, that was able to stay on task and deliver what we think could be the most exceptional podcast that we've ever done. They were busy, so we got Kaleb, who is a bladesmith. Now, Kaleb is an amazing guy, and I preface all of that because this is a very loose podcast. If you're offended easily, I will apologize in advance and give you the trigger warning. There are some jokes and there's some little bits of comedy in there, and we bounced off each other and we had the best time, and he was so much fun, so cool, so genuine, no filter, literally just went off the scale, and it was so cool. There were so many highlights out of this. So I'm going to do this podcast absolute justice. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys enjoy it. Let's sit down and have a conversation with Kaleb Smith. There were a lot of inappropriate jokes said just before we started.
I really had to hold back from saying, what? Something about the clap? What?
Yeah.
You go, what?
Well, we're not filming in Hamilton, so it's fine.
Fairfield Hard.
There we go. Yeah. That's the one. Chartwell Mall. Here we go. It's called the Northland Artists Conversation. But Kaleb, thank you very much for coming in and sitting down with us and what promises to be
scuffed, for lack of better terms.
Let's go with a interesting and colourful podcast.
Yeah, sure, whatever you want to call it.
Well, we're diplomatic here. So thank you for agreeing to be the first podcast of 2024. This is actually going to be a real treat. For us, because you've brought in a few things which we're going to show people a bit later on. So if you're listening to this, what I'll do is I'll do my best to describe things. I can be, as you've just heard from my jokes, quite descriptive at times.
Disturbingly so.
Disturbingly so. So, your creative expression is what?
For lack of a better term, things that kill people. No,
right.
No. I wouldn't even know how to describe my creative expression.
Maker of stabby things?
Well, it's not just stabby things. Actually, no, forks stab things too. Actually.
They do.
I do other things as well, but yeah, mostly blades. It's mostly blades.
A bladesmith?
That's technically the title I go by. I do general forge work as well.
Okay.
But the forge work I do is less artsy, more industrial. Like I do locomotion parts and things like that. I work occasionally.
Sorry.
Locomotive parts.
Oh, locomotive.
Locomotion.
I thought you said emotion parts. I was like, do
emotion
they cry
parts.
themselves?
Wow. The urge to say something there.
I know. And we're off.
Yeah. You got to really work the kinks out of the material.
That's the one. Yes. I know that joke. Some of our listeners will as well. For those of you that don't, get a thesaurus. So I'm going to hold something up because you very graciously brought this in, and this is kind of a bit of an example of some of the. This is kind of more of the. Would it be fair to say this is the kind of the bulk of the work that you do?
That one's a little bit like mid-high end of what I do, but it's the gist of what I do.
Yeah.
Good luck getting that one to show up nicely in camera. Angles are weird with Damascus.
That one, and that one. Lee, Editor Lee, can we see that in the camera?
Yes, we can.
Is it quite nice?
If you tilt the blade, it'll change the way the light hits off it. There's too many shinies.
There we go. Cool. So this is a Damascus kitchen knife?
Yeah, it's a mosaic Damascus
Okay.
Santoku. It's a Santoku. So, general purpose kitchen knife, yeah. But it's not your normal Damascus. That's mosaic, which is far more of a headache.
Now, why is it called mosaic as opposed to just regular Damascus?
So, if you look at that one, the pattern is actually... Get out of my way, microphone. Sorry, I'm going to
just
mess
grab
with your toys.
Grab it, lean forward. Just make sure you talk into the microphone.
Right. So
Yeah,
if you look at it, the pattern is repeating down it, and it's the same pattern repeating each time. Normally Damascus is relatively random.
Yeah.
So mosaics typically are repeating. So these are actually a predetermined pattern that I was aiming to achieve, and this one's a little bit special, but I got most of it and sort of got what I wanted. But it's predominantly repeating. So mosaic is actually the end grain of the steel. So
Okay.
Have you seen the
Mike, grab, Mike, pull, down. There we go, perfect.
better?
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, where was I? Fucking
Mosaic, pattern, metal, most.
right, lollies. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Figure that bloody leap out. So,
Vans.
have you ever seen the like the hard candies that have the pictures in them? You see them like most of them.
Yeah.
So basically, we're doing the exact same thing in steel.
Okay.
So the way that they make it is they make a big fuck off one.
Yeah.
That has roughly the picture. And when they shrink it down, it kind of refines and looks a little bit nicer. And they draw it out, and eventually you just get a big long tube where the grain of it, you look at the end grain, you got a picture. We're achieving the same thing with steel.
Right.
That's why it's a lot more convoluted. Normally Damascus is just a bunch of layers and they run the length of the blade. And when you grind the bevels on it, whip-de-doo, you've got your pattern.
Okay.
That's a bit more hard because you're trying to get a consistent pattern the whole way down the length of the steel, and then you got to do some black magic and sacrifice a few virgins to get the end grain to show up on the sides of the blade.
So how have you been able to do it? We haven't got any of those in Northland.
No, we've got a few. It's Hamilton we've got to worry about.
That's the one.
There's just going to be a whole episode of shitting on Hamilton, by the way.
It will be. Hamilton.
Still not as bad as Huntley.
What's wrong with Huntley?
Anyway. So... fuck me. So that one there's been
not that sort of podcast.
Okay. Hamilton. Actually, no, that's Huntley.
Well, that's the No Jumper podcast, right?
Well,
With Adam and Lena?
yeah.
Anyway.
Those tangents will be real. So that's been accordion cut, so you can actually see where the pattern stretches in a funny way. And what I've done is I've had the whole bar and I've cut sort of 2/3 in, come across 2/3 in from the opposite direction, and unraveled it like an accordion.
Right. Okay.
And that causes, as each of your segments kind of folds up, suddenly your end grain gets folded up and is now on the side.
Okay.
And so what the actual billet of steel would have looked like is, as I try not to cut the web with my fingers because it would fucking suck. That's what the end grain of the steel would have looked like.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and then as it's been stretched out, you see here and here the stretch marks.
Yeah.
And so it all stretches out.
Okay.
And
You hand make things that are, weapons of single destruction.
Yeah, I do some other shit too.
You do other shit. How does one get into this? I don't imagine there's a lot of 8-year-olds going, I want to be a police officer. I want to be an actor. I want to be an influencer. I want to be a bladesmith.
As I said to my father, ADHD and boredom.
Okay. Right. Okay, so that's going to lead into my next question.
Oh, God.
What was school like for you? And were you always creative?
So, I've always been a little bit creative, and actually, I was relatively normal. And
Those of you that are listening, he threw up the air quotes.
I was relatively normal until I was 20, and then I actually had a TBI. I got cleaned out in a mosh pit, broke my C3, and had a brain bleed after getting kind of stomped on.
Oh, not an eat the curb stomp though, right?
No, it was an accidental. Oh shit! I didn't see under my feet.
Yeah,
20,000 people trying to cram into a broom closet.
Now, where was this?
This was at the Bring Me the Horizon concert down in Auckland.
Yes. Great. Look, TBIs are bad at the best of times. But what a great way to get one.
Yeah, cleaned out in the fucking mosh pit. Yeah. Took an album.
Was it a good song though?
I fucking remember. I'd fucking tell you.
Right. I was going to say, what if it was Shadow Moses? That would be legendary.
I hope it was one of the sempiternal classics. Okay, yes. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah. I'd take Happy Song, but I would it have to be Shadow Moses
or like classic sempiternal.
Yep.
Any of the old bangers.
I'd still take Shadow Moses.
100%.
Any day of the week.
Yeah. Can you look at my eyes? Fuck.
Yeah. Can you tell from the look in my eyes? He's got a TBI.
We're going over.
That's yeah.
No, yeah. Caught a elbow to the base of the skull from a crowd surfer.
Wow.
Yeah, and because of my EDS, my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it actually subluxed my C3, so I had a partial dislocation, which kind of my spinal cord and just dropped me like a sack of shit. And
Holy cow!
As I said, 20,000 people cramming into a broom closet.
Yeah,
You're down there. I was only down for like 3 seconds. But
far out.
When you're all packed like sardines, it's enough to really mess your day up. Like,
I remember passing out unconscious at in a mosh pit.
Fuck, that's impressive. You can remember passing out unconscious.
Yeah.
Normally you remember waking up, not the. He's gone.
It was and this I'll tell you who the artist was, because when I tell people this, they're like, "Fuck off." It was in Auckland at the St. James, which I doesn't go, and Blind Spot were opening, and they were great, and I got right into the thick of the mosh pit, and it was absolutely intense, and it was like we were all sweating, and it was just massive. I came unconscious during POD.
What song?
It was one of the heavier ones. It was definitely not Youth of the Nation.
I was gonna say, that's exactly where my fucking mind went. Like,
no.
If you passed out to that, I'm leaving.
It was so packed in there.
Yeah, the heat and the fact you can't breathe because you're being squished.
I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'2", and I've got a bit of chonk on me, but I was squeezed up so tight.
Dreadlocks and steel beads. That's what I normally have. Keeps a clear zone around you because people get freaking lashed. It's great.
Your head bang. It's like, my eye.
Yeah.
So you said as you were in school that you were relatively creative and mildly normal.
Yeah.
What happened?
I didn't have the hyper-focus side of it. Nah. I didn't have the hyper-focus side of things that I have now. So,
right.
I was artsy.
Did you draw or?
No, I painted Warhammer.
Okay.
So I was into Warhammer 40k.
The figurines?
Yeah.
Right.
And I played Warhammer as well.
Yeah.
I was a giant fucking nerd. Nothing wrong with it. And then it was a combination of things like school. I was always pretty good until I sort of hit an NCA, and then I sort of dropped off because, I was a teenager.
Right.
Drugs.
Okay. So not academic?
No, not in the slightest. So I ended up actually completely ballsing up high school in my first year. In my first NCA, so year 11, I ballsed up high school.
Right.
I got a whopping 3 credits in the whole year.
Out of how many?
Oh no, I think it's like 110.
You need how many? Does it
3 credits is like 1 paper.
Okay. Editor Lee, how many credits do you need to pass NCEA?
So level 1 you need about 80, and then level 2 and 3 60.
80. Wow.
Okay.
And you got 3.
But then I left that school after an incident that I shan't get onto here.
Was it a bullying incident?
No, it was it was a combination of bullying incident and I'm a fucking moron.
Right.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Okay.
Police were involved. It was fairly serious in the end. I shan't get onto it here just because nobody needs to know about that.
We can move. We can move
Um,
forward. Yeah, that's why we have a break in between. Okay, so some heavy shit happened.
Yeah.
And went down, and
Yeah.
you basically had to go to another school.
Well, yeah, I didn't have to. They had no reason to expel me in the end. And
Yeah.
I ended up getting pulled aside by the headmaster and told, "Hey, you can either leave, or we'll just find a reason to make you leave next year."
Oh wow,
Um,
that speech.
What my family pulled a few fast ones on the school in regards to lawyery stuff. It was that kind of serious.
Right. Okay. That's pretty heavy.
It got
And
pretty heavy.
you're how old at this stage? Like
I
16,
would have
17?
been 15.
15.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, and then I ended up leaving that school, going to Carmo, where a really good friend of mine that my father's played Dungeons and Dragons with for 10 years at that point
Yeah.
was the head of the trades department.
Brilliant.
So I went there, and I passed level 1 and 2 in the same year, and then dropped out.
Okay.
And I did level 1 and 2 with nothing but trades.
Okay. What trades were you studying?
I was doing carpentry and design.
Okay.
So
okay.
with just carpentry and design, other than like a little bit of math and English because you have to get the numeracy and bullshit credits. But
Yeah.
I actually got some of the numeracy through my architectural design. My father's an architect, so I had been reading drawing plans for donkey's years at that point.
Yeah. So you
So
kind of understand how to look at them, yeah?
Yeah, and friends for families building. I've been building off and on since I was just becoming a teenager, reading plans. So that kind of thing I flew through no problem because
Yeah.
it was A, hands-on, and B, it's kind of shit that I already did.
So would it be fair to say that you were more of a kinesthetic learner, like a learner by doing, as opposed to
100%,
book,
100%.
as opposed
Yep.
to being book, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And after that, I finished that year and said, cool, I'm not going to university. Year 13 is fucking pointless. I'm going to go do a trade.
Okay.
I left and did my building.
So
Apprenticeship.
you 17 years old?
Yep.
Straight out of school, straight into a
Straight into a building.
straight on
apprenticeship.
tools.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you do tools for?
I was on the tools until I was 23.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 years.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Shit. Fuck, 6 years.
That's quite a while, and you obviously being someone who's only a couple of years older than you,
Old enough to be my father almost.
well, guess what? You're about to have that Darth Vader moment. I am your father. No,
You're not the postman.
no, I am the milkman. No, when like kids at my age and even sort of 10 years after that, you'd go do trades. You would literally go find someone and go. You wouldn't study, but nowadays there's still a lot of
courses.
study. Yeah,
So yes and no, actually. There's still study and there's bookwork and shit like that.
yeah,
But you're on the tools the whole time.
right. Okay,
You don't there is one, there's actually a couple of them now, but if you do like BCITO, you're on the tools the whole time. You don't take time off work to go do book bitch stuff.
really?
Yeah, no. So master builders, every, I think 6 months, you'll go do like a 1 week block course.
Yeah,
and
right.
you'll just do all your bookwork then.
Okay.
But see now actually, BCITO, ironically, like right after I finished my apprenticeship, which pissed me off, they flagged the bookwork completely. No bookwork at all now.
So just all tools.
It's just all on tools. It's practical. So your boss has to be happy with the level of your work, and then
Yeah.
the inspector will be like, yo, can he actually do this? Yes, he can. Sweet, sign that segment off.
okay.
So it's all practical based, because at the end of the day, like, what the fuck does a piece of paper know? Like, I can read this piece of paper, tell you exactly how to do it, and then go and not be able to do it by hand. My father is a prime example of this. He's
Okay.
an architect.
Right. Yeah.
He knows how to build a house inside and out.
But could he do it actually?
No, he's
Practically.
fucking useless.
Okay.
I
Right.
watched him trying to rip with a skill saw. Like, he's building another house. Well, he's building another house. I am building another house.
Yeah.
And so I was just doing the architraves in his house, like
Right.
literally on the weekend. And he's like, "Oh, we need to do this." I was like, "Oh, can you go rip this down?" And it comes back and it's all wonky and it's like fucking 2 mils too long. It's like, dude, come on, like, you know how to do it. You know all this on paper, but you can't actually.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the muscle memory and the practical skills
Right.
to back it up.
Yeah, the old measure twice, cut once.
Yeah. Measure 15 times and fuck it up every one.
Okay.
It's me and my memory loss problems.
Okay,
That's why it's
yeah.
one of the other
Yeah.
reasons I stopped building.
Well, it's great that you and producer Andrew have something in common, and I think that's really cool. TBI. A couple of years ago.
Join the club, brother.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
love learning to read again. It's great.
Oh my god. How bad was it?
It got pretty gnarly. I had memory issues. It was one of the other reasons I stopped building. It wasn't just my body giving out because
Yeah.
of my knees. It was I had memory issues, so I was really struggling with like taking a measurement, forgetting to write it down. Go to the drop saw, and then
Forgetting the measurement.
rinse and repeat 10 fucking times.
Yeah, you'd constantly have to go back
And
and
you're
get
like,
the
I
measurements.
won't write it down. I'll remember. I'll say the number the whole way to the bandsaw.
Yeah.
And then you go halfway and think, I wonder if penguins have knees. And then it's all gone.
Okay. Now,
I broke him.
penguins have knees. Yes. At least I'm not going to say it like Benedict Cumberbatch. Penguins. Penguins. You say earlier on you said normal childhood, right?
Yeah.
It's a subjective term, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Not book smart,
No.
but practical smart.
Yep.
Would you say that you are or were prior to your TBI possibly on the spectrum? And this actually leads to a bigger question, by the way.
I actually genuinely don't feel I was that much.
Okay.
Like and this is something I discussed with my ex-partner as well, who I was with when it happened. Things definitely changed afterwards. Like
Yeah.
I used to be able to sit down and play computer games for. I'd play World of Warcraft and I'd do a 10-hour raid and not move.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, if I'm not playing computer games with someone, 25 minutes max.
So the part of that TBI was the attention span.
Yeah,
just
it's out
dropped
the
off.
fucking window.
Right.
Unless there's like active stimulation. And the problem is for me, I don't find video games active stimulation. Conversation with someone while I'm playing, definitely.
Right,
But the
okay.
video game itself, can't
It's
do
just
it.
boring.
Just boring.
Okay. So, man, yeah, okay.
I'm a slut for dopamine.
No, I was just thinking something very quickly on a YouTube short I saw today, but I won't ask that. We'll do that off camera. So it's interesting because it's not really like you have, you got a TBI and then you got ADHD. It's just like
There's definitely a sprinkling of ADHD there beforehand,
right.
but it just got way worse afterwards.
So that was my question: is did the TBI amplify it?
Oh yeah, no, it's apples to oranges. It's so much worse now.
Right. Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. And as now, as a bladesmith, it's not something you can just knock out. Bob's your uncle.
I have the perk of hyper focus trait with my ADHD
That was going to be my very next question.
and time blindness.
Is time blindness.
It's 6 a.m. No, actually, it's 8 o'clock at night. What the fuck?
I can't go on about time blindness. I've seen some bullshit videos. Because this is quite repetitive, and it's not something that would necessarily be like overstimulating. Like games aren't stimulating. Games and conversation is, but this is very much sole single person endeavor. Even if you're like listening to music and that sort of stuff, it's very me centric, and the world disappears.
Yeah.
So how is it something like you either need to be hyper stimulated or hyper focused, and there's not a lot of room in the middle?
It's basically how it is, yeah.
Wow.
That's why, hence the shooting, which is something, because obviously, as we were talking about earlier, I'm a competitive shooter.
Yes.
That's sort of the hyper stimulation. I don't have to focus that much, but holy shit.
Yeah.
And if you actually look across all my sports, they're all similar, like competitive paintballing, jiu-jitsu, HMB
You did
fighting.
competitive paintballing?
Yeah, I was on one of the New Zealand teams for a long time. I still am.
I did competitive paintballing as well. Oh. Regionally.
Well, is this like back in the days of Crisis and all that, and the paint contractors? I don't know how old you are, so...
48.
That would be around the time of the paint contractors and...
Well, no, my brother and I got banned.
Standard.
No, he used to freeze his pallets.
Yeah, I just overshoot people. It's more fun that way.
No, he would sniper and he would freeze all his pallets.
Paintball's changed over the years.
I
We shoot like 30 balls a second now.
Yeah, no.
And I just don't let up.
No,
I also play the competition format, which is way different now.
Okay.
Back in your day, it would have been called X-Ball. The inflatable bunkers and whatnot.
No,
You're in the bush.
It was actually in the bush.
Yeah, no. Now I play the competition format, which is X-Ball or Speedball.
Right, okay.
Whole different ball.
Fundamentally different.
Okay. It's 5 players and set time limit, proper structured field, symmetrical, no advantage to anyone.
Right.
And it's more like playing soccer or rugby.
Okay, right. So there's that real, similarity side of things, like,
everything is just like, you got to be pinging.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And in those moments, do you find that's when you kind of stim the hardest? Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
I'm going to ask a question. I apologise in advance. I don't know how to ask it in a diplomatic way.
Just fucking drop the brick.
No. I don't need to go to the toilet. But I also apologise to listeners and viewers in advance. I don't mean to make this sound insensitive in any way, shape, or form.
I'm impossible to offend.
Some of the people that watch or listen, we try to do that, not to do that. Okay. So if you could live in a state in America, it would be Texas, I'm guessing. Yes. That's not the question, though.
No, there's actually one better state. I just can't remember which one it is. Texas isn't actually that great for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
too many
anyway.
FFL laws.
How have you found living with essentially such a diametrically opposed spectrum? And how has that challenged you in your day-to-day life? And how does it continue to challenge you?
If I'm not working or doing one of my sports, I'm at home going absolutely fucking insane.
Wow. Okay.
I have a young child. I have a 19-month-old boy.
Hey.
I love my boy.
Yes.
He's the love of my life. Fuck, I hate when I have him and he's in bed. Because I am nailed to the floor.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything loud.
No.
So I just sit there and watch TV and I just, oh God.
Do you die a little on the inside?
I die a lot on the inside.
Okay.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
No. Now, how does that relate to what it would have been like pre-TBI?
Oh, I just would have chilled at home, play video games. I would have been fucking sweet. Yeah, so it's hard having the two completely opposite because like you're either all or nothing.
Yeah.
And,
like if you've got hyperstimulation and then the other side hyperfocus, there's not a lot of middle ground.
No. That
you can kind of come to where you're like, I shall sit down and binge watch a Marvel season.
No, I can't do that. Like I do.
I don't know anyone that can nowadays. Anyway,
I do literally. I will put YouTube on and I'll watch a lot of education, like history bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'd have that playing in the background. I'll have as much going on at once. I'll have YouTube in the background. I'll be on my phone and just trying to stim as much as I can, basically.
Right. Okay.
Normally, I'm in my gun room on my reloading press, reloading 9mm, and with my phone propped up, headphones in, blasting normally Dungeons and Dragons podcasts. And so watching Critical Role and reloading ammunition, so I have to focus, but I also have that to just numb the noise in my head.
Right.
And I kind of managed to just get the best of both worlds.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question that I actually haven't asked anyone. And I think, Producer Andrew, it's probably fair to say we've had a few people that have been on the spectrum on the podcast before, yeah?
Do I win?
Okay. But how is doing something like this? Because it's neither hyper-focused nor hyper-stimulating.
See, but I enjoy conversation. It's like I said with video games. It's the conversation playing multiplayer.
Okay.
I have this annoying trait where someone will come to my workshop to pick something up.
Yeah.
And they'll leave 3 hours later because we've been talking. They're only there for 5 minutes, supposedly, and they leave 3 hours later.
Wow.
Because I just don't shut the fuck up.
Okay.
And I go on massive tangents and I just drag their ass with me, willing or
Yeah.
not.
I guess for me, this is kind of a bit of an interesting insight because, a lot of, some artists have mental health, mental health problems, depression, anxiety.
I lack mental health. That's the problem.
So this is kind of interesting to get an insight because obviously you're like 20 years younger than me, right? You're 28?
27.
27. So 21, when I was getting slaughtered on my 21st, you were going, wah, and that was it. And then someone was like, congratulations. It's a
thing.
It's a boy. But we're not going to gender it. So this for me is really, really interesting because, one of the things we do is we do, if artists want to talk about it, we'll talk about mental health and stuff like that. And we're quite big advocates and supporters of mental health because, some artists will really struggle with it, because you have these massive peaks and valleys, and it sounds to me like you constantly live in a peak and valley.
Yeah. And it actually, as an artist, it's like looking at it objectively from being an actual full-time artist where I rely on what I do to pay the bills and keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Being an artist actually makes it so much fucking worse for your mental health. Because this line of work as well, it's such big leaps and bounds sometimes between pay.
Yeah.
And things like that. And running a business as an artist actually is so detrimental. If you want good mental health, don't become a fucking artist.
I will challenge that by saying mental health can actually be supported by creativity.
Oh no, 100%, 100%. That's the oxymoron of it. What's oxymoron?
No, that's right.
That's the oxymoron of it all. Is that it's great for your health, but it's fucking detrimental at the same time.
Yeah.
At least you can find like a kind of a happy middle if you don't. But yeah, it's just running the business as an artist and doing such a niche thing where it's not something that's needed. It's something that's
it's a nice to have, right?
Yeah. So when we have like this last little bit of a price hike we had with the cost of living increase.
Yes.
Fuck, I went 3 months with not a single bit of coin coming in at one point.
Wow.
Which can do some wonders for your mental health.
Yeah, now because you're probably one of the very few artists that we've had on that actually is a full-time artist.
Why?
We do this. We all everyone that supports does the Northland Artists Conversation works in some capacity.
Yep. I avoid work as much as possible.
Well, but you
broke.
but you work.
Yep.
You work in a different sense. And we've had a lot of people that do have a main job and then do kind of art on the side, but then making that transition from it being like an enthusiastic hobby or something that you really enjoy into being the thing that provides the bread and butter.
Suddenly a lot of the joy is taken out of it. To a degree.
There's
that
this
would be my caveat.
Is the saying, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Is that actually true?
In winter,
from your perspective?
In winter, yes. In summer, no.
Right. Okay.
Love working in winter. In summer, I hate my job.
Because you've got to go into a room that's 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
It hit 39 degrees in my workshop on Thursday.
What, Thursday last week?
Yeah.
39.
39.
Did you remember to flip the bacon when you were cooking it?
No, I just flipped myself. It was
wow. That's insane.
Well, you got a 1500 degree forge pumping out, and it's humid as fuck too, because LPG forge, for every kilo LPG, there's a litre of moisture in the air.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So, you're pumping out a 1500 degree forge in a tin shed, basically.
Yeah.
On what was a 26 degree day.
Yep.
So it gets up there pretty quick.
Far out. And how do you combat that? Because it's not like you can go, I'm taking summer off.
When I don't have my son, I tweak my work hours. So I'll work early morning through to about 11.
Yeah.
As I said, Greek hours.
Greek hours.
So I'll work from early morning till about 11. Then I'll chill out until 5. Go home, normally have a nap in my air conditioning until about 5, and then I'll work 5 till 9.
Right. Okay.
Because fuck my neighbours.
So, being at both ends of the spectrum that you live on, do you find yourself going hard, becoming the best, and then going, fuck it?
100%. Yep. I hit the top. I'm like, right, I win. I'm out.
Okay, so you're always going out at that elite level.
Yep. Quit while you're ahead.
And is that at everything you do?
Basically.
So would you say...
It pays my bills. It's different.
Okay.
If it didn't pay my bills, I probably would have dropped it by now.
Really?
Yeah.
Far out. Okay. So let's say that you did. And it you didn't have to worry about that anymore. What would you be doing creatively? Would you still be doing this? Would you have moved on to something else?
I'd be doing this, but a slightly skewed version of it. I'd be moving on to the more ornate stuff. Like, I make functional art.
Right, okay.
Okay. So everything I do is typically, like, a lot of what I do is kitchen knives and things like that, or competitive fighting gear.
Right. Or steak knives.
Well, that's still functional kitchenware.
That's true.
But yeah, or like armor and fighting wear and things like that for H&B. I would probably move more over to doing the $50,000-$60,000 blade that's just going to sit on a fucking stand its whole life.
Wow.
That's the kind of direction I'd probably go if I had that, because it's a time and money thing. Like, you'd pour 2 whole months into a single blade.
Yeah.
I don't have the luxury of doing that, so I don't do that. I do kind of halfway in between, where I'll do like that dagger. I'll do a really fine dagger that's not crazy, but it's also not just a frickin' pig sticker.
Now, you've brought the dagger in.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the dagger, because it's interesting that you reference it. It's a great point in time.
You can do the
talk
honest.
about it. Thank you very much.
It is sharp. Don't cut yourself.
I make no guarantees.
That's fine. It's your problem.
It is.
Sacrifice to the blood gods.
Yeah.
I still haven't stitched the scabbard. I was meant to do it like 3 months ago. It's just chilled on my desk.
Now, Editor Lee, which camera would you like me to do this in? Would you like me to do this in the wide or my one? Do it in my one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's zoomed
It is. It's nice and it's very doit. Okay, so
There you go.
it's on this side, eh? This side's the better side?
Yeah.
That side? Yep, cool. Okay, so we've got the
Thing and the whatchamacallit.
the handle and is that the pommel?
No, pommel's the other end. That's the pommel.
That's the pommel.
That's the quillian block.
Yeah.
And the quillians.
That if another knife, it kind of protects your hand, right?
Yeah, that's the theory.
Yep. And I will do the unsheathing of the blade. And that's it there. Now, I know that a lot of different styles of blades have different styles of names. So what is this style
That is
called?
a quillian dagger, or a knightly quillian dagger. A traditional quillian dagger is about 3 inches shorter. That's more of a knightly one.
Knightly?
Knightly, with a K.
As in round table?
Yes.
Okay, right. Now, how long did it take to do this?
Do you want the answer I tell customers? Or
No,
the
I
truth?
want the real answer.
About 4 days.
Now, I want the answer you tell the customers.
3 weeks.
Wow.
Justifies the price.
Yes. Okay. Well, now that actually that's an interesting conversation, right? Because you've done enough of these in such a short space of time that you've been able to hone and refine your skills.
Yes, and thousands of dollars of machinery to speed things
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So the length of time it takes shouldn't be applicable, right? Because you could turn around and go, well, I could take 3 weeks, but I'd just have to unlearn
Yeah.
a whole bunch of shit. And I
exactly.
can't use the expensive gear that I've bought. I have to use the cheap shit.
Basically, I tell them 3 weeks because a lot of people don't quite understand the fact that they're not paying for the time, they're paying for the $30,000 machine that I'm fucking using to make it.
Yeah. And also the skill that you've acquired along the way.
Yeah.
Because this isn't something that you just suddenly go, you know what? I've got a free weekend.
Literally how I learned.
I will be a bladesmith.
Literally what I did.
Doesn't work like that for everyone, you jammy bastard. Now, this has got a big brother, doesn't it? Yeah. Now, I'm very intimidated by this.
Everyone is.
And also, let's swap.
It's just because mine's bigger.
That's what she said. Now, I hold this, and I'm actually... I can't do it in mine, can I? I have to do it in the wide. I can do it in mine. Does it? Oh, yeah, hang on.
It's not sharp. I haven't sharpened that one. You're fine.
Okay, cool. Well, I too am much like producer Andrew and am quite accident prone. So I will
Just don't fall on it. You're fucking fine.
hold this. I have no intention of committing seppuku.
Yes, committing Sudoku.
That's even worse. Death by numbers. Now, this is for those of you that are listening to this podcast. I am holding what sort of sword is this?
That'll be a single sword or a long sword, depending which way you want to look at it.
Okay.
I can get way more complex if you'd like, but I don't really.
This, to me, this is the easiest way I can think of summing this up is the Aragorn sword.
Nah, Aragorn's sword's like a half foot longer.
Is it longer?
Yeah, his is a hand and a half. It's also way narrower at the thick end and goes to a way more aggressive point, and the fullering stops halfway up. I know because I know the guy that made the actual sword for Aragorn.
Suddenly, producer Andrew is impressed. Man, you haven't heard anything yet.
Peter Lyon plays Dungeons and Dragons with people I know.
This is so. We actually have had a few people that cosplay and do like wear Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff are their favourite. So I'm actually gonna quickly shout them out. For Anna and Keely, this is for you guys. This is supremely cool and such an amazing
Scabbard.
Thank you.
With hanger and belt that I made too.
Far out.
I'm not putting it on.
I shall move on to my next question then, because that was actually going to be my next question.
I can if you really
No.
want. I don't. It just means I got to stand up. That's all.
No, that's fine.
You really?
No,
want me to? I can do it if you really want me to.
Fine.
Fuck.
Is the wide going to pick it up? Are we about to find out? We've never done this before.
I can.
You can do it? Cool. All right, let's get that mic out of the way. So what Caleb's going to do is he is actually going to... You can take your headphones off as well, mate. That's totally fine. He is going to take the scabbard and he is actually going to put it on.
It's sized to actually fit with my brigandine on because it's made to be worn with a whole suit of armour. So
Right, so it's actually sized correctly for like everything that you would normally wear, yeah?
Yeah, so it's going to sit a little funny. Normally it would sit almost up above my belly button.
Okay.
But it's going to sit way lower.
Right. So what he's doing at the moment... so it's around the gut.
Yeah, well, normally your brigandine has a slight sway in here.
Yeah.
If you wear it low, it's just, you don't have hips when you're wearing brigandine.
Right, yeah.
So it's just going
Okay.
right down.
Yeah, so it's going. This. I have to say, this is going to quite possibly be one of the most epic things we've had. What a great way to start 2024. If you aren't, can we get some photos while all of this is happening, Lee?
Yeah.
Camera? No. There's actually a camera. Let's use the camera. Hand that to producer Andrew. There we go. Because I think this is going to be something that's quite unique. I'm going to hand. He's just literally grabbed it. Now, okay, so he's put it back in the scabbard,
So it just has a
and
bit
it just
of
hangs.
Normally it would sit lower at the back than it would at the front. So
Right.
it would actually have the angle to it.
Yeah. So that looks very majestic. And now, yes, that's it. And he's actually grabbing those photos as well. We do like to post the funny photos on social media, so well done.
But yeah.
Now,
and it's actually designed as well,
so you can actually unclip it.
take the whole thing off. So you don't have to lose the belt. when you
There
wanna
is
sit down.
real thought that's gone in there. This is absolutely amazing. I don't know at what mark around the podcast this will be, but I'll go somewhere around the 45-minute mark of the podcast.
I think I'll take this off.
So if you have a look, you'll find the link through Facebook and Instagram, or go to our YouTube page at just search Northland Artists Conversation, and you'll actually get to see it because that is absolutely amazing. That's unlike anything I'd seen. Is it something that you would? Is it something that you would? Because you also you repair armory and do armory, right?
Yes.
And you do the... Now, I called it LARPing. It's not LARPing because it's actually two dudes trying to actually really have a crack at each other.
Yeah, well, the rules are basically if your legs give out, you're out.
Okay.
If you're on the ground, you're out. Other than no shots to the nuts or the back of the head, that's about it.
Okay. is that something that you would cosplay at, like a, an Armageddon or something
I
like
wear
that?
my fighting armor to parties. Sucks when you're drinking though, because that shit gets hot.
I can imagine.
I was meant to actually go to a party on New Year's. It was like Dungeons and Dragons themed, and that's why I rushed to get that scabbard finished, because that was actually going to be part of my mum's costume.
Oh,
my
wow.
mum's got a full suit as well.
Yeah.
And I was going to go down in my full plate gambeson and everything. I just ended up not going to the party because of some other reasons, and yeah, but I wear my armor to parties and all kinds of shit. I was actually I filmed a episode of Down with Love, the Down syndrome dating program on TV. Yeah, so there's a program called Down with Love. I filmed an episode with them, and I had two Down syndrome couple.
Yeah.
Come and their date was actually making a knife with me in my workshop.
Really?
I hold knife making classes.
Yeah.
And both of them were into their dressing up and things like that, so they had me come on in a full suit of armor to fucking greet them.
That's
so I
amazing.
wear that armor to a lot of weird places.
Yeah.
And going into the gas station in half a suit of armor gets you some very weird looks.
I can imagine. I mean, I heard all the stories, and I've watched enough of the behind the scenes footage when Lord of the Rings was being filmed. Vigo took his sword with him everywhere.
Yeah.
He'd go out for dinner. The sword would go with him.
Did you hear who's the guy that played Sean Bean? Did you hear about him? What he did in full costume? He'd climb up. So when they did the filming in the mountains before they went to the Mines of Moria, he was terrified of flying.
Yep.
So he climbed that fucking mountain every day in full costume.
That's right. I remember that. To have one of the best deaths on camera.
Yep.
I think he holds a Guinness record for the most amount of deaths as an actor.
Yep.
So, with this is very cool. And the work itself, there's enough work to kind of keep you busy?
It comes in dribs and drabs.
Right. Do you have to actively go out and pursue it? Or does it kind of...
It's a hard one to actively pursue other than going to markets and stuff. However, what I do is most of what I have is a price point that's not viable for markets and things like that.
Okay. I'm holding up the... Santoku. One of these at Briscoe's would set you back...
Like $30 for
$30-40.
$1,150.
$1,150. So this isn't, I'm going to shoot down to the artisan markets and go, yeah, have a look. And people look at that and go, is that $11.50?
Add a couple of zeros and we're there. We'll just move the decimal.
Shift the decimal point and then you've got a fair idea. Wow.
Yeah. But all my stuff comes like, Briscoe's knife breaks, you just go buy another one. That breaks, you send me an angry email and I make you another one.
Okay, so there's almost...
If I'm alive, I'll replace it.
So it is almost lifetime warranty.
Well, it is a lifetime, except it's not the lifetime of the knife, it's my lifetime.
Wow.
And free sharpening and cleaning and all that shit, as long as you get it to me.
Yeah.
So I provide services on all my stuff. But it's a luxury item for the most part.
Yeah.
As most art in reality is. If you're piss poor, you're not going to go buy a $50,000 painting. If you're piss poor, you're not going to go buy a $1,000 knife unless you want to.
Yeah. It's a flex.
Oh, no, 100%.
It's an amazing flex.
As we said, it's just dick swinger material.
Yes, it is. It's the Mutombo swinging. So you've got a presence on the interwebs.
Yep, I'm on
you have to.
Most socials. It's how I run my business. I get more from socials than I do from my websites. I get a fair bit of traffic from my website, but...
Insta,
Facebook, TikTok.
You do the ticky-tocky.
I dropped off on it a little bit because they sort of started absolutely slamming knife makers.
Okay.
I got to like 10,000 followers and I was like, yeah, all right. I'm getting like 6 views.
Yeah.
I was just like,
right, okay.
Fuck it.
So how can people find you?
You mean what like... What's my...
Not turn up to your house and be like, oh, give me a knife. I mean, what are your socials?
So it's faux...
I'm not asking for your address.
No, I mean, do you like... yeah, I'm more meaning how or which socials?
I don't know. Which are the ones...
I'm Faux Forge Bladesmiths on...
Sorry?
Faux Forge, FEHU, the Celtic rune.
The Celtic rune.
As
Okay,
it says
it's on your
shirt.
t-shirt.
Yeah, that there, yeah.
See, I thought that was Fehu.
It's pronounced Faux.
Fehu.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the technical pronunciation.
Okay, so it's Faux Forge.
Yep.
Okay.
And so on Facebook, I'm Faux Forge Bladesmiths. On Instagram, I'm Faux Forge Knives. But if you look at Faux Forge Bladesmiths, I'm there too.
Okay.
Yep.
And people will be able to kind of see everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's up
definitely.
there.
I post everything.
Now, is there anything you've got coming up that's a little bit cool, a little bit exciting, a little bit different?
Other than Blade Show in September, which is not that different, but it's big.
Yeah.
That's where if you really want to see the big guns kind of playing. I'm actually a bit of a small fish in the bladesmithing world. So if you
Really?
I'm not that high up in the in the rungs. There's some real crackers out there.
Because to me, that if you're a small fish in the big pond, and the big pond in relative terms is still quite small, and your knives, look, let's be honest, not cheap.
No.
But you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
What the hell are these other guys selling their stuff for? And are they doing? Is it like, are they full time? I mean,
Some of them are, some of them aren't. So my friend Caden, who owns Nedfire Knives, he had a sword at Blade Show last year called Elysium. It had a price tag of $13,500 on it.
and it's sold.
No.
Right. Okay.
It almost, so this year's Blade Show was also last year's Blade Show was absolutely abysmal compared to usual. We're down to like a third of our usual traffic, and the amount of money that was spent there was nothing. Like, I made the most money out of anyone there,
Yeah.
and I still only walked away with $10,000,
Oh wow.
which is actually fucking peanuts because that's normally the biggest payer of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Okay. So
And that's a global thing too. All Blade Shows across the world are seeing a massive downturn.
now it's interesting because I've still got, and this I know this will seem like an odd segue and an odd transition, but retail, Boxing Day this year, normally the busiest time of the year, right?
Yeah.
Some places are reporting 15 to 20% down on last year's sales.
Yep.
So is that the recession? Is that the uncertainty with government? Because if it was September last year, it would have been pre-elections.
It's a bit of both. The cost of living crisis is smashing everyone. Remember, so most of what I target's upper middle class. All these poor fuckers that have mortgages and now all their rates are going on to floating.
Yeah.
They're getting reamed.
Right.
So
they're not running out buying a $1,100
no,
Santoku.
Exactly. So it's just the downturn in the general market.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it across the board. Because remember, most of your people that do a lot of the large spending are those people that have mortgages and things like that.
Yeah.
And because they're not, spending their entire soul on their rent. So they have money to burn usually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of that sort of upper tier percentage of people,
upper
right?
middle class is what I like to call them.
Yeah. And obviously the elite, if you can get in there, like the top 1%.
Well, that's sort of where I aim nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
I've got the order with Sky City.
Yeah.
I've got the order with Sky City, which I deem to be kind of the upper class thing. Because when you start dealing with corporate companies, that's where the money really is. Because they'll throw $50,000 at you and not even blink.
Wow.
Admittingly, you're dealing with corporate people, and it's like trying to get blood from a stone. It took me 2 months to just get my deposit off the bastards, but
Wow.
corporate companies, you're not dealing with one person, you're dealing with a couple of hundred.
And you've got to deal with like 53 people that have to sign off on the spend, right?
And the problem is I'm dealing with a liaison, so I've got him to talk to her, to talk to her, to talk to her, to get one thing done. And by the time it gets to her, she doesn't know what the fuck's happening.
Right.
Because it's all changed along the chain.
Yeah.
I finally got paid from them.
Because Chinese, essentially it's just Chinese whispers, right?
Corporate Chinese whispers.
Yeah. Okay. So the Sky City thing, that's going to be one of the bigger things for the year for you?
Yeah. So hopefully have that done by mid-February. So that's going to be one of the bigger things.
Wow. So you're really going to just stop everything and just solely focus on this?
Yep.
Far
They
out.
gave me a really good incentive.
Financial?
Very financial.
Very financial. Well, that's cool. It's always good when artists that are able to do it for a living are able to support themselves. Because I think if I'll say this and you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's always tough when you see an artist that can no longer do it for a living.
Yeah.
And I think and it doesn't matter what discipline it is. I think that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because, when, say, like COVID hit and with the cost of living crisis, luxury items are often the first to go.
Yeah.
So, like in Northland, we rely a lot on the tourism dollar. And I would imagine that it would seem like we've had a boomer summer. Not boomer as an old, but like a boomer summer, like a good one. But I imagine it's still less than what everything has been pre-COVID.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you're seeing that in the knife market too. Like most of the big business for people is coming from commercial sales rather than like to the average.
Like commissions?
No, yeah, it's like large commissions from corporate bodies rather than like just sales to the general public.
Yeah.
Like I did one last year, which was for the Carey Cliffs Lodge. Same thing, 25 steak knives, but that's like a $9,000 order.
$9,000.
Yeah.
For steak knives.
Yeah. Again, the kind of place where I'll make the knives, but I'm never going to be able to afford to fucking eat there.
No. What's Carey Cliffs, right?
Yeah, well, Sky City all over again, the new Horizon restaurant.
Yeah.
They want the knives, they want the box for the knives.
We were talking about that before.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You get to make the products, but
I'll never get to use them.
You never actually be able to eat there.
My knives are better than theirs.
Exactly. Kaleb, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. We never know where these podcasts are going to go, and I think that's always the most exciting thing. And it's really been like a real yo-yo ride. Some inappropriate, some serious,
lots of inappropriate,
bit more inappropriate, some stuff. What's going on? More inappropriate, if we're honest.
Yeah.
And this for us is a great podcast to kick off 2024 because we love meeting new artists. Now, and as you said, you're not really well known.
I only started this in 2020, really.
Yeah.
Like I late 2019, I started dabbling, and then I took the fast route. My first knife I ever made was Damascus, and then I kind of just went
right
and took the roller coaster.
So a lot of your success is, it's not by luck.
No, it's by brute strength and ignorism.
Well, it's when opportunity and preparation meet.
It was very little preparation, but yeah.
Well, you're prepared because you've got like good gear.
Fucking didn't to start.
No one does. I mean, when we...
Yeah, no, I like to pre-plan things and make
Yeah.
my own life easier, because at heart, I'm a lazy bastard, so...
But that's the spicky.
If you want something done, get the laziest fucker to do it, because you'll find the fastest and easiest way to do it.
Yes. Absolutely. The most time efficient. Very cool. Look, again, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. It's been absolutely amazing, and I hope you can continue to do this and have massive success.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you very much. Well, there you go, everyone. That was the podcast with Kaleb Smith. What a nice guy. Super cool. We talked about just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't know we were going to talk about. As I've said on the podcast numerous times, I have no idea where any of these podcasts or conversations go. It's really just myself, the guest. We figure it out on the spot, and we have a really good time. And today's one, I would say, now that's going to be really interesting. I know what it was like sitting here from the host's perspective and talking with Kaleb, but I don't know what it's going to sound like kind of overall, if that makes sense. So this could very well be in the Tim Bell ranges of awesome and inappropriate. And this will be great. Editor Lee, I have a question for you.
Absolutely, fire away.
If you were to pick one moment out of the whole podcast of what he talked about, what would be your one favourite moment?
Oh, already got it. When he mentioned how he got his condition. Is it TBI?
It's a TBI, traumatic brain injury. Yep.
Yeah, at a concert. Because I always wonder about that. Because I've been to many concerts. I always wonder how easy that is to happen to someone. Yeah,
definitely. And as you know, as someone who used to produce music of the heavier variety, yeah, man. Concerts have definitely gotten a lot more. Actually, since I was on stage, concerts have gotten a lot more progressively violent over time. You know, they have these. There used to be slam dancing, moshing, which was kind of your standard, but then now there's kill crowds where dudes walk into the mosh pit with the absolute intention of physically hurting and injuring someone. Those tend to be at your smaller, more hardcore shows and stuff like that. But yeah, that's actually a thing, and that's crowd killing. It's really, really scary. But you know, Bring Me the Horizon are not a small act by
certainly not.
by any stretch of the imagination. They did the amazing collaboration with Ed Sheeran. I hope that song's in your playlist now, Editor Lee.
Definitely is. Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You know, the big one for me, what did I get the most out of that? I think it was... You know what? I was going to say... Actually, I take that back. I was going to say originally, I don't think it's one particular moment. And I was going to say it's the whole overarching podcast. But that's a bit of a cop-out. What I found most interesting is the fact that he's been doing this for 4 years. He has been a bladesmith for 4 years, and learning about how it all works for him, how he is, how he either needs hyper stimulation, or he has hyper focus, and just to talk to someone about that is just really amazing. And he was so open and so honest and so forthcoming with how that experience affects him. And you know, it's not often you get to have those sorts of conversations as well. You know, go that sort of deep. You know, because you know, we on here we've talked about mental health with a lot of our guests, but we don't really sort of get really into the weeds. And I really felt like we did tonight, which was cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So I think that's my big takeaway. I'm going to flick over to my camera now, just in case you guys are still on the wide. I'm going to flick to my camera. I think for me that was the real big thing, is that, you know, I know that there were a few questions that I posed him that really challenged him, and made him think really, really hard. It wasn't all, you know, happy and fun. You know, there was some serious moments in there, and he touched on a few serious points that happened in his life at high school. But you know, as I'm sure you'll agree after having watched or listened to it, that it's like, yeah, definitely. You know, it was, you know, I think, as I said, it's filled with like peaks and valleys the whole way through. You know, and what a great guest to have for the start of the year. So where can you, our new viewers and listeners, and where can you, the pre-existing fans, you know, we would love to have you support us as much as you can. So I'm going to rattle off where you can find us if you just support us, whether you follow us on Facebook or Instagram or subscribe to us on YouTube. Everything you do, we appreciate, and I cannot thank everyone enough. So for the video, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all Northland Artists Conversation. For audio, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, all Northland Artists Conversation. Nice and easy, we keep it simple. And if you're an artist that has got any type of creative expression, and honestly, it doesn't matter. You know, if you put something out into the world that's creative and unique, we would love to have you on. You know, we're going to have another podcaster as a guest coming on. We're going to have our first tattooist as well, which is great. You know, we would love to hear from you. And it doesn't matter what your creative expression is. We would love to hear from you. And you just simply email hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. It honestly couldn't be simpler. Or just flick us a message through Instagram, Facebook, or leave a comment on YouTube. We'll find you, and you know, we'll just converse with you, and then we'll go from there. We'll get you in the chair. It'll be absolutely amazing. And we've also got Patreon as well. Patreon is still going. We've got lots of amazing supporters, which is great, and we do have some top tier Patreons, which I am actually going to give a shout out to now. So Patreon is where you, as a listener or viewer, can support us a little bit more. You can just, it's just basically patronage, where you can just donate a little bit of money to us each month, and it really helps keep the podcast going. So we have 2 tiers. First tier we've called Cup of Coffee. Nice and easy, cup of coffee. That is $5 a month. Super simple, really affordable, and I think in all fairness, probably cheaper than a cup of coffee nowadays. But that's what we've called with. That's what we're sticking with. Second tier we have is what we've affectionately called Coffee Addict. Now that's $20 a month, but you do get some perks that you wouldn't normally get with the $5 tier. You'll get to know the guests who are coming out in advance. You'll get to ask them a question if you want. If there's a question you would like me to specifically ask a guest, I will ask that on your behalf. And you also get a shout out like I'm about to do now. So I'm going to thank our top tier patrons. Excuse me. I'm going to thank Lauren Roach for being the very first Patreon we had. Thank you so much, Lauren. Do appreciate it. Michael Boter for being the next one. And then we've also got Maggie Coco and Jenny Purchase. Guys, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a lot. We appreciate all of the patrons that support us. It is absolutely amazing, and we could not do this without you. You guys help keep us up and running, and it's great. Now, where can you find us? Well, I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can do it. First way is you can go to Google, type in Patreon. That's Patreon. And then just go to the top right-hand corner, create an account, log in, sign in, and then search Northland Artists Conversation, all one word, pick your tier, go from there. Couldn't be any easier. We've made it pretty simple. Second way you can do it, and possibly the easier way, is I'll run through it you now. Open up a web page, go into your address bar and type in www.patreon.com/Northland Artists Conversation. You'll find us there. Again, sign in, pick your tier, go from there. Happy, happy days. We'd love to have you supporting us. It really does mean a lot. I'm going to flick back to my wide. Producer Lee.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna fluctuate with the statuses. Normally editor, I was gonna go with internally, but then that sounds a little bit like internally, so I don't think that works. Because we've got producer Andrew, we've got editor Rocky. What would you be called?
Well, I mean, I like being an editor, but
so editor Lee it is then.
Is there I was like, is there room for 2 people?
So we'll call Ely.
Yeah, Lee.
We'll go Ely. Man, we're in the middle of summer.
We are.
Like we are. We're filmed tonight, and there's been a bit of overcast, bit of rain. But we were out shooting a music video, and I don't know if you can see this. I got sunburnt. I got badly sunburnt. My legs got sunburnt. The back of my neck got sunburnt. The backs of my arms got sunburnt. But didn't we have an amazing time?
Oh, absolutely. It was great. It was really good.
It was so cool. We were out there. We were doing it. We were loving what we were doing. It was a 14-hour day. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so.
14-hour day. Well,
nearing 15.
Near a 15-hour day.
Yeah, nearing that.
With all of the driving and all of the filming and the locations, and we're going to have an absolutely amazing, cool little music video that'll be coming out soon. We're going to hopefully have it coming out by the end of January. So actually, by the time this podcast comes out, that music video will be out.
Yes.
That is going to be incredibly exciting. Looking forward to it. So guys, I will get some information to you. Shorter video. We'll figure it all out. So thank you very much for sticking around, joining us right to the very end. My name is Mark Kelly. Thank you very much for joining us on the Northland Artists Conversation. We'll see you guys real soon.